TAP right there, and like I did mention earlier on that that's pretty much on what was being talked about. And just in case you are watching right about now, this show is called The Lounge, as we are still talking about entertainment, or rather what's trending as far as all those rumors, and also just making some clarity about them and giving you all those juicy stories that you need to stick around for right there as well. So you can get super interactive. The number is on your screen, or rather you can also get to follow us on Facebook, that is The Lounge, or rather you can also get to follow us as Prime Television Zambia, and get to find out more right there as well. And like I did mention earlier on the other side, when we were with Professor Lance, that we're going to be having guests right here on the show. And speaking about something that you need to look out for, if you are a huge fan of poetry, it's something that you need to stick around for right here. And I'm having the guest right about now. How are you doing?
Oh, good, man. How are you doing?
Not bad. This is, awesome. you know, it's quite very different when having you on set. Okay. I've been just checking out your work. You're doing very well, brother, man. And your work is speaking a lot. Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, fine. People are watching right about now. They just want to find out your names and basically what you do.
Oh, okay. So I'm Petronella Nyirenda. I'm a spoken word artist, and I'm also a student at the University of Zambia.
Oh, nice. Awesome. All right.
Yeah, and I'm Musenga Katongo, otherwise also known as Messenger, and I'm also a student at UNZA, second year doing business admin, and I'm a spoken word artist and author.
Okay, so what's the difference between an author and spoken word?
Well, a spoken word artist is basically someone who recites poetry on stage as part of a performance, and then an author is someone who writes, basically. So I guess I do both written poetry and spoken word poetry. So, yeah.
Petronella, something that I'd like to find out from you.
Yeah.
How did you find yourself in what you are doing right about now? Because, you know, it's not easy. As much as some of us, we can try to do something at the end of the day, it's quite very hard. How did it start developing?
Well, I think for my poetry, funny enough, it started with one of those like beauty pageant competitions in grade 9. So it was just one of those things, let me just try this out for fun. And I was told you had to have a talent to perform, but I was like, ish, there's like nothing I can do. So a senior was like, let me just write a rap for you, you present it, and it'll be cool. So I did that, and then I started to realize, okay, if he can write, I should try this out. So I started writing with raps, and then I started writing raps, then the sentences got longer. I started experimenting with imagery, sound, and that kind of thing, and then it became poetry on its own. Yeah.
Messenger. The same question though. Because you know the response from your works as well is overwhelming. I've been checking out what you've been posting on social media, and people love that as well. How did you find yourself?
Well, I started doing poetry in 2014. I was influenced by a poetry group called Please Don't Snap. They had come to my school one day and they presented poetry, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. So from then I just tried to do it on my own. But before that, I remember I actually started doing like hip hop when I was in grade 5. I was influenced by artists like Lil Wayne, and also I was like, okay, let me try and write my own raps and stuff like that. So down the line, when I was introduced to poetry, I guess it was more like an extension because I was already writing hip-hop lyrics, and now I just moved on to poetry. So I guess since then, it's just been history. I've just been going forward from there.
Let's talk about challenges, you know, because basically this is the question that I get to ask mostly artists, okay? Are you guys facing any challenges as far as poetry is concerned? Anything that you feel, okay, this is what we're going through, and we're hoping this needs to be achieved at the end of the day?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the most challenging thing about writing and poetry is finding people who can appreciate the work. So sometimes people have this misconception poetry is still that AIDS situation.
Yeah.
So they're like, we already know what this is about. What else is this? So if they don't give us the time, we have to like convince them. And then I think balancing it with other parts of life, so the school, and then the other obligations with family and whatnot. So finding that balance and still being able to write and grow and progress is one thing I find challenging.
The other thing I'd like to find out from you, is it possible for someone to pay bills with the career of poetry? Have you seen someone who's successful? Because I know maybe there might be a child who's watching right about now, and they are inspired and they love poetry so much, and they want to take it as something very serious. Is it possible to make a living out of poetry?
I believe it is possible to make a living, but I think there's a lot of background work that has to take place for that to happen. So many of the poets in Z, like the big artists that are out there, aren't really doing it for a living. Maybe they just do it as a side thing, then they have got this other job which actually earns them income. So I feel like before it can actually be something someone can earn a living from, there's an aspect of creating a culture of appreciation of art. So that's even one of the challenges that we face, like where can people actually put a price tag to the art that we're doing? Like we put so much time and effort into writing and rehearsing and all that, but can someone actually value it to an extent of us having a consistent income? So I guess to answer that question, it would just depend on how this culture of appreciating art can be
But
built.
are you taking it as a job?
Pardon?
Are you taking it as a job?
Yeah, I would actually love to reach that point where I can be able to like have this as a full-time thing. So I guess it's also now just like doing both works, like trying to put myself out there whilst also doing the background work to make sure people appreciate what we're doing. Yeah.
Since they say when we are youths, we need to make sure that we get to work very hard right there.
Yeah.
Petronella, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve at the end of the day in your career of you being a poetry?
I think for me, the main thing I would like to achieve is allowing people to understand different perspectives. Most oftentimes, the reason why there are misunderstandings or arguments is because people don't see it from another point of view, or people don't, they only want to put forth their own objective or their own idea of what something should be like. So for me, it's allowing people to see that there are different sides of a story, even though there'll always be a bad guy. But if you see it from the other side, you're like, okay, he has a reason for some of these things. And also about purpose, because if you find your purpose, then everything else, even though it's hard work, even though it's gruesome, it still becomes worth it at the end of the day. So bringing that realization to people through poetry and through other works, that's my goal.
Okay, we're here to talk about the event, and just want to get to find out a background check about that.
Okay.
People watching right about now, there's something that you and the team you are working on. I had to make that emphasis because there's a team behind.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the event. What is it all about, and what made you say, okay, finally, we have to make this come, and people need to come through and come and watch?
Okay, so basically there's an event that we're going to be headlining. That's myself, Petronella, and another poet named Jesse, who happens to be part of Le Diplomatique, if you're familiar with that duo. So this event is called Color Culture, and it's actually a launch of an arts platform with the same name, which is Color Culture. Basically, it's involved in telling African stories through poetry, visual arts, and fiction writing, because we feel like we need to like have content which is really culturally rich and based more on our history and our heritage. So we basically put together this event as a way of starting out this platform which we're going to be putting forward, which will be involved in the art forms I mentioned.
Okay, so what should make someone to come through and spend their time? Because you know people nowadays are quite very busy. Just to come through and come and watch Petronella and Messenger. What should make someone to come through?
I think, in fact, the experience. I believe it's not going to be like all these other poetry shows, which are still good, but I believe this Color Culture will bring a whole different perspective. It will challenge, it'll entertain, it'll teach, I believe by the end of the show, there'll be growth. So yeah.
Okay, speaking about the event, which date have you put that people need to say, okay, this is the day that we need to look out for, and venue, and if they are in charges as well? Maybe you can just highlight about that.
Well, it's set for 22nd of June. That's next month, like I think a month from now. Yeah, that's 22nd June, Mika Hotel. Charges are 70 kwacha single and then 100 double. So tickets are available. If you go to our Facebook page, you can always you can get the contact details there. And yeah, everything's set from there. 22nd June, 70 single, 100 double at Mika Hotel.
Okay, so before
18 to 20.
Oh, 18 to 20. I love that. But before you leave the set right here, because there's always that thing, please give us anything that you can get to do. I know you were not expecting that, because at the end of the day, you are selling yourself right now. Yeah, so who knows, maybe kungangaleko by sponsor another time. So yeah, you might not know. You might not know. Yeah. So how about maybe just give us some short pieces.
Okay.
And let's see what you have. Okay, let's the ladies first. Let's the ladies first. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just do like a section of it.
Okay.
Because of the time. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Welcome to the beatdown of the century. No international election could trump this. See, not even Bruce Wayne could Bruce Willis this die-hard battle of wits. So to all the meek milling around, stop the tweets, take your seats, and prepare for this warning. See, this is no longer about poetry. Instead, it's a fight for the crown of royalty, and this prize wasn't easy to pawn. So tonight, they will fight for the throne of the Son of God. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I see someone scared. No, don't worry. You are a team.
You got this.
She did her best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. She added to my personal spectrum. A walking rainbow that so happened to be straight but curved on the waist, the parabola shape. See, she was my Cleopatra, I was her Caesar who rose like a planet of apes, and she was a symbol of my royalty, the sparkle to my glitter. She'd make my heart swell out of my chest. I don't think it can get any bigger. And I became a political figure when she would prance her figure, and all men would be stiff like action figures, cause she was worth more than a check exceeding 6 figures, and she added color to my
Wow. Now I understand why you call yourself messenger. So from now on, when I have anything, I'll be just calling you up, man, I need to send you somewhere. Since your name is Messenger, so I'll just send you saying, okay, I've given this guy some words that he needs to tell my woman.
Yeah.
So those are not your words, but you need to tell her so that she can be... No, you're a messenger, like your name. So when you go there, you introduce yourself saying, I'm a messenger, okay? Okay, from PMC. just a recap once again on the date and the venue, just in case someone right about now just watching and they don't know what we're talking about. A brief about it and also where it's going to be, and just emphasize on the Facebook page and how they can get to contact you guys.
Cool. So we're having our launch event for Color Culture, entitled Color Culture.
Yeah.
It's going to be at it's going to be on the 22nd of June at Mika Hotel from 18 to 20. Charges are 70 single, 100 double, and you can contact us on our Facebook page to order your tickets in advance. Yeah, and our Facebook page is Color Culture. You can reach out to me personally on my Facebook page, Messenger, and
Petronella and Yorinda.
All right, your Remax, anything that you have to tell people all about our viewers who are watching this show? Anything that you have to tell them?
I would say come through and don't be afraid to try something that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, doors will open for you.
Yeah. Messenger?
Well, I'd also say come through. Trust me, it's an experience you do not want to miss. And yeah, always remember that you ought to leave a legacy with everything that you do. Always try to do what's best and everything that's going to benefit people around you at the end of the day.
It was great having you, and I promise this, I'm going to attend that event because most of the event that comes through right here, events where 18++, combat is until shine. But this time around, this one,
There's a limit.
There's a limit of time, which I love most, but truth be told, I'm still going to be there just to get to support you guys. And the only thing that we say right is we wish you all the best. And maybe these coming days when the event is near, you can still come through and we can talk about how it's going so far. All right, let's go straight to another clip. On the other side, Professor Lance comes through with another interview right here on the lounge. So we'll go straight to King Illest, who has a current brand new single. On the other side, Professor Lance comes through right here with another interview right here on the lounge.